Yeah, I grew up I was born and raised in Alabama, particularly in Birmingham, Alabama, and all of its history of racial violence and so forth. And Lowndes County had uh, a nickname of being Bloody Lowndes. So it was very much full of tension, full of violence, as we all know what happened in Selma, which is only like 40 minutes uh, south of Lowndes County. So that's our history here in Alabama. And there are still members of the Coleman family that still lives in Lowndes County today. But for the past over 20 years now, we have recognized the death and commemorated the life of Jonathan Daniels and what he did there in sacrificing really himself on behalf of the people who lived in Lowndes County. As you said earlier, he and Judith not only came to Lowndes once they heard Dr. King's call, they stayed. After the event, they stayed and became a part of the community. And so what we have done in the Diocese of Alabama and Central Gulf Coast is to continue to try to build relationships in those communities, because there is a lot of shame based upon what happened there. But over time, we have been able to build some really strong relationships with community leaders, with the commissioners down there, who now help support the pilgrimage that we do every year, who speak, who host youth groups when we're down there. So it is all about trying to get over the shame of what happened in the past, but not to forget it, but to move past it and to be reconciled in terms of racial tension and justice. Justice is what we are all reaching for. And I think it's what they want too in the long run. But you've got to get them past the shame and guilt of what happened in those days. I think pilgrimage as a whole is about place and remembering, and then taking that place with you into your life, whether you're visiting the Holy Land or wherever. It's about going and exploring and taking that back with you to your home place. So in terms of Jonathan Daniels and Hayneville and Lowndes County, I am surprised before COVID, when we would have this pilgrimage in person, I'm always surprised how many people have never done it before. You know, we generally during the announcement would say, how many of you, this is your first time doing this pilgrimage? And I'm always surprised by the number of new people who said, this is my first time. But I'm also encouraged by the folk who come every year to remember. We need to remember, because lest we forget, we repeat the mistakes. And so pilgrimages help us to remember. And if we use pilgrimage for the purpose of working towards justice, then we use it to amplify those issues that still, as you said, sadly, we're still fighting voting rights. We're still having voting rights suppressed and oppressing people still today, more than 50 years later. So as we remember and we see how far we have come, yet how far we still have to go, and that we strengthen our courage, our resolve to continue to work until we all have fair voting rights. So pilgrimage, that for me, that's what pilgrimages do. It reminds me and it launches me forward to continue to do the work.